You're listening to the Dirty Air Podcast.
Hey, let me hear some Skinner, brother.
It's in the face, Donor. In the face.
I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't know how to party.
And now, here are your hosts, Chuck Busch, Jonathan Merriman, and Matthew Dillner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another championship edition of the Dirty Air Podcast here on NASCAR.com. Woo! We're a lively bunch here today in the NASCAR.com radio studios just outside the NASCAR Hall of Fame here in fabulous Charlotte, North Carolina. Joined today, as always, Jonathan Merriman, Matthew Dillner. I'm Chuck Busch, and welcome to the Dirty Air.
Love being in the dirty air.
Do you?
Yeah, anytime I'm sitting next to this guy, there's bound to be some dirty air.
Yeah, that's true. Anytime you're around, there's bound to be some dirty air. That's my take on that.
There was a lot of air the other night at Phoenix.
Air Titans.
Air Titans, baby. If it wasn't for Air Titans, I'd have a sad life. I love the Air Titan.
I hate to see it
All
on the
hell.
track.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It means
is a
we go
great
back
invention,
racing.
but I wish we never had to use it.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everybody wishes they had rainbows and butterflies and sunshine, but that's not life.
We do in Candyland. Come visit.
I don't even know where to go with that. Candyland, really? Chutes and ladders. That's a good game.
I like Connect 4, personally. I
fun
think Connect
getting
4
into
is one of the
trouble.
better. Stratego.
What about life?
Ooh, Trouble's a good one.
Risk?
I was never good at life.
Stratego? What about
No. See, all right, okay.
This is very
Stratego or
true.
Risk?
Stratego is a very underrated board game in the
Risk
history of
is the
board
better
games.
game. Risk is the better
You
game.
think so?
Yes. It's global domination.
Well,
You could be a world champion.
I could just see Chuck
just
Busch
like
like this.
one of the
Look.
4 drivers that came out of the race in Phoenix.
global domination.
Did you see that? Did you see what I did there?
I like what you did.
I tried to make a little transition so we could
Like
talk about
this
some
here.
NASCARs.
Keep rolling your thumbs.
Yeah,
until they
keep
take
rolling
I'm
your
gonna
thumbs.
keep on rolling my
But
thumbs
we
until
have
they
got
take this.
a 4-way battle for the championship.
4-way tie.
4-way tie because the points are reset. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup is going to come to its penultimate conclusion
Wow.
at Homestead
he
Miami
is
Speedway.
pumped.
Are you not?
Who put some Kyle Busch liquid in his water
Are
bottle
you
there?
not pumped?
Kurt.
Yes, dude. If you're a NASCAR person, you're not pumped for the finale. You got something wrong with you, dude.
I think
'cause
if you're a person and you're not pumped for the finale, there's something wrong with you.
it's going to be ridiculous.
What do you think, Jonathan?
Yep.
Yep.
No, it's
There it is, the
How
stellar
about we ask the
observation
Eagles?
from
We
Jonathan
might get a better
Merriman.
response today.
No,
out-
it's just
out
it's
of our
crazy. It's
beautiful
the
Eagle.
season has come this far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
we're-
we raced,
we're
36 times?
And I love
35,
Homestead because
35?
it's like the last
This will
day
be
of school.
36?
It's the last day of school. It's like when you go to the last day of school and everybody has a yearbook and everybody's like, hey, what are you doing over this season, the summer, signing yearbooks? Everybody's
I'm
in a
not
great
signing
mood.
a
It's
yearbook.
not like school at all because it would be senior skip day, and I'm pretty sure Jeff Gordon's going to be there, and he's very much alive in the title contention.
Which-
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You know who's alive? 4 guys.
Yeah.
We got 4 guys.
With
We
an
got
equal opportunity.
equal opportunity. You've got Kevin Harvick,
the zombie who you can't kill.
title defense. You've got Martin Truex Jr., the underdog, the single car team. You've got Kyle Busch, the comeback kid, and you've got Jeff Gordon, the legend.
Basically, you have 4 amazing stories, Chuck, and 3 of them, in my personal opinion, could be stories that are worthy of Sports Illustrated cover, worthy of national headlines.
All 4 of them. All 4 of them. You have a
Kevin
title.
Harvick story's
back to-
okay,
how
back to
often?
back.
How often does back-to-back happen?
Jimmy Johnson, hello?
Oh,
Where have you been
all
the
right.
past
That's
10 years?
Jimmy Johnson.
Hello, Chuck.
I'm saying in
Hello.
sports in general.
In sports.
How often does
That's-
back-to-back happen?
That's back to back.
We'll
to back,
get to
back,
that.
back.
But let's look at the underdog, the single car
Yes.
team, Martin Truex Jr. The guy has been the sneaky pick, if you will, Jonathan Merriman. He's been there. He's got that win at Pocono. But what is he doing that sort of sets him apart from these other 3 drivers?
He's consistent with this rules package at 1.5-mile tracks.
But is consistency going to do it at Homestead?
He won at Pocono, so I mean he can rattle off a win. But I think what makes Martin Truex Jr.'s story more incredible is the personal journey with him and his longtime girlfriend Cherry Pollux. That's what tugs at your heartstrings. It's a guy who was down on his luck leaving Michael Waltrip Racing after everything happened there, lands with Furniture Row Racing.
Has a
Was-
tough first season.
Was a back marker for a year, and now He's in the Final Four. He's guaranteed to finish at least fourth in the points.
And for a small team, I don't want to say small team because they have amazing resources, but for a team that's isolated on an island Colorado, a single car team, that is just amazing. But the personal journey is what would be the true story with Martin Truex Jr. and even just everything that they've gone through. Losing Elijah, the young boy that's touched all of our hearts across all platforms of sports. Who we just recently lost, was a really close friend with the Truex family, with Sherry, with Martin. They've just had such an incredible personal journey that would be the Cinderella story of the season.
I think if you look at one of the most special moments in this sport, when Dale Earnhardt won the Daytona 500, and every crew member from every team lined pit road and shook his hand. You have two drivers that if they win or win a title this weekend, that something like that could be recreated. If Jeff Gordon goes out on top, you better believe everybody's going to go up and shake his hand. And if Martin Truex Jr. wins this race,
he's just a well-liked guy.
He's a well-liked guy.
In that garage area.
And Cole Pearn, you see him after the race in Phoenix when they made it in. He's going up and he's hugging all the crew guys.
High-fiving.
The joy on that crew's face that they made it, that they're in that final round, they got that shot was unbelievable.
Well, for Cole Pearn, a rookie crew chief, that's just an unbelievable thing, and an underdog, a very quiet, unassuming character in that garage that doesn't get a lot of credit, almost like Rodney Childers a few years ago.
And now let's take a look at another one of these drivers, a guy that sort of made, I guess you could call it a comeback. You can call it a comeback because he broke his leg in Daytona.
Tiny Tim. You guess? You could call it a comeback?
Yeah, you might be able to. I don't know. It could be.
One of the greatest comebacks in sports over the last few years. Unbelievable.
We've talked about it this whole year, and we said over the summer, we kind of beat that dead horse. Was, all right, yeah, he's going to rattle off these wins. He's done it. He's there. He is at that point.
Well, he's also kind of gotten over the chase hump because he's had terrible luck in the chase.
Right, and we're talking about Kyle Busch here because we probably, I didn't mention it, but it's probably implied with the fact that he broke his leg in Daytona. But that's Kyle Busch.
And everybody stopped. Hey, have you noticed recently people aren't really talking about the injuries in the comeback? Just like everything in life, it seems like everything gets forgotten after a few weeks. But the personal struggle, the physical struggle, the rehabilitation to get himself back to tip-top shape to perform in that race car is an amazing story in sports, not just racing.
And you touched on the fact that he's had struggles in the past, but do you feel like we're seeing a different Kyle Busch here?
It's the mental being laid up in a hospital with a broken leg and a broken foot, to be able to put your mind to being able to get over that injury as quick as he did it. I think that showed him that he was mentally tough enough to make it through. So, I mean, he's walking around like he's bulletproof right now.
Well, he's got all the talent in that right foot and in the holding that steering wheel. More talent than almost anybody out there, arguably. What he's lacked is that mental toughness. I think I saw a little bit of that old Kyle Busch that could defeat him at Martinsville when he spun out. He was a little, ornery on the radio, but Kyle Busch has been a completely different personality, and I think that's why he's having more success.
But what did he do after that race? When he got out of the car, what did he do?
Shook Jeff Gordon's hand in victory lane, made it a point, and then the next week he went and did the same thing to Jimmy Johnson. Now,
he did say on the radio that who's Jimmy Johnson's biggest fan? This guy. Yeah, that was some great sound. If you go on NASCAR.com, check out Scanner Sounds. I believe it's in there.
Him or Adam Stevens said they were going to send him a Christmas card this year, too.
They're probably sending that whole Hendrick team Christmas cards right now.
Not if the 24 wins the championship.
Well, he might because it's the 24. Now, what if the 4 were to win?
Now,
Kevin Harvick were to go back-to-back.
This is nothing against that race team, but to me, that's the less, you want to say, emotional story that if they win a title.
Down.
But, I mean, look at the second place finishes he's had. They've been dominant all year long. They might not have the win totals as some of the other people do, but they're still good, but it's not a surprise.
Well, he all but had that one in Phoenix. I mean, we don't know because there were still, several laps to go, but he had the car.
Almost nobody could touch him. Maybe
he was
Logano
so
could have.
quick.
Blame it on the rain.
Blame it
on the rain.
Sorry.
Yeah.
A little Milli Vanilli there. Hey, we can lip sync that. It'd be a fun time. So, what do you think of Harvick? What do you think of his chances?
I mean, the bottom line is they unroll off that hauler every week, one of the fastest cars in all of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series
Fruit
racing.
roll-up.
So
Freaky fast fruit roll.
they are. They are. So you can't count them out because he's proven time and time again that when you count him out is when he rises to the occasion. So I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to sit here and say Kevin Harvick's not going to win this championship. I'm just going to imply it because if I say it, he's going to overcome it.
Yeah,
Nothing against Kevin Harvick. It's not that I don't want him to win the title personally because they have a great group of people on that team. Kevin works hard, but, just as far as stories, you got to agree that the other 3 stories are just so much more magical.
I got 2 things. I think at the beginning of the year, Media Week, Kevin Harvick said the pressure of winning a second title was more than the pressure of winning one in the first place because they didn't know they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
First year, first team, whatever. Now there's an expectation that they're champions and they should be able to go out and back that up. That puts a little bit more pressure on that team. Secondly, Jimmy Fallon, he was paired with Justin Bieber, and that's bad luck. He has a championship
So you're
streak.
saying that it's like this? Well, I can make an argument for another.
Did they
curse.
win that fairly?
Did they?
Bieber and Harvick win that fairly?
You're talking about the fact that all 4 chase drivers the final 4 chase drivers were on the Jimmy Fallon show, the Tonight Show last night, paired up with celebrities. I believe.
Why was Harvick paired up with Bieber? That's
Why
what
not?
I want to know.
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know.
Maybe
Bieber
he's
doesn't
a
like
believer.
Gordon.
No, maybe Kevin is a believer.
He might be a believer.
I don't know. You look at the smile if you're watching on YouTube.
I'm a believer.
He could be a believer for life.
I just don't think
You
it's
see
good
what
luck.
I see what you got right there.
Justin
Yeah.
Bieber has a streak of ruining championship runs.
So you're saying that believer.
Nothing against Justin
Well,
Bieber.
wait,
It's
Bieber
just,
is going to ruin Kevin Harvick this weekend. You heard it here first on the
he's the
Dirty Air
proverbial
podcast.
Fenway goat.
The proverbial.
Fenway goat. That would.
Proverbial.
Proverbial.
You mean
I was
the
like, what's a
Wrigley
proverbial?
Field goat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Wrigley
getting
Field.
all
Did I
his
say
sports
Fenway?
thing.
The curse of the babe was Fenway.
Yeah. Okay.
So
The curse of the bacon was
Pardon me.
Dillner.
I got
hey,
my-
at least he gets racing right.
Yeah.
that's what they pay.
That's
you for.
what counts. Now,
I don't
if
like
you
baseball.
if you're looking at curses though, Jeff Gordon was on Sports Illustrated.
Oh, the cover.
He was also on NASCAR Illustrated.
Yeah, but
there you
there's
go. So that
there's
reverses the
there's
curse.
a record with the Sports Illustrated covers.
It's like the
and,
Madden cover.
Yeah. So you got 4-time, the drive for 5 still alive in Homestead. What's his chances like?
I think they're solid.
You do?
Yep.
How long have you been hiding that face there?
I took that from the media center in Phoenix.
They had it out in the media center, so that way all the media could
Well,
look better. Because obviously,
It's funny
this
because
looks a lot better than most of the media sitting in that room.
when they
And-
were giving him away, they went up to the stage and they just said, "Does anybody want a Jeff Gordon head on a stick?"
If
And I was
if
like,
you're listening in iTunes,
I'll take
they're,
2.
they're holding up a Jeff Gordon
Yeah, it-
face on a stick.
It showed up.
He'll probably tweet that out later.
it-
I know Dillner will.
It was in
He'll
the
take
monitor.
a picture of that and tweet it.
We had it up.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on there right now. I think we're in B-roll.
But
So
the,
if you're looking at
the
Jeff
bottom
Gordon.
line is Jeff Gordon is going to have all the resources of Hendrick Motorsports and all the resources of their satellite teams. And of course, Team Chevy has a few, apples in the cart, but they're going to have Chevrolet resources as well. So you best believe that not only the yellow numbers will be on all of those Hendrick cars this weekend in honor of Jeff Gordon and this amazing season he's had, but they're all going to be all for one to try to help
one
him
for
get
all?
the information that he needs during those practice sessions to have the best race car and the best opportunity.
I don't know if I agree with what you just said. You think they'll have all the resources of the satellite teams? I think the waters are going to get murky when looking at the notebooks from from Stuart Haas over to Hendrick, because they're connected. They're well connected teams, and I just
Do they need anybody besides their
you've
three
got
teams?
with Jimmy
Realistically.
Johnson there.
Jimmy
you got-
Johnson, Casey Kane's been running a little bit better.
Dale Earnhardt
finally,
Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., who just won this week at
And
Phoenix.
let's remember this: last year, Jeff Gordon pretty much had that race won, except for a late race pit stop.
it's Jeff Gordon's head on an eagle's body. That is freedom.
Jeff Dillner.
No, we're
Jeff
looking
Dillner.
at the Eagle. It's more the Eagle. But Jeff Gordon, Homestead, that's a track that he knows how to get around.
Get it?
Get it? Do you agree with that?
2012 winner.
2012,
All right.
It's like we have voices.
Yeah,
in our
you know what?
names.
It's
We
kind
might
of
have
like
a
we have
producer.
telepathy.
Yes.
Can we take the credit for that, or is it
No.
back up in the booth?
It's probably in the booth. I think Matt
Like we
Strickert
should
might
have
have
just
hopped in
had
your ear.
Strickert hop in because he's got a camera up there. He could have just been like, "Hey guys,
it's one of the new things we're trying out here on the Dirty Air podcast.
Yeah, pop yourself up, Strickert.
Yeah, let's see if we can do this.
I mean,
Let's hear
Strickert
it.
and Beatty are up there, and we love those guys. They work hard for us, and they're the unsung heroes. There they are.
Hey, wave at us.
It's not just
Justin
me.
Beatty.
I've got someone else this week to make
Pretty
sure
in
the
plaid?
buttons are pushed right.
That's a
unlike
wonderful
last week.
green sweater.
Yeah,
Where'd you
that
get
is pretty in plaid over there, Justin Beatty. Did
you get that at Penny's?
Say hi to mom.
Hi, Mom. Sitting here punching buttons. Don't worry.
Punching buttons.
Two of the hardest working men in NASCAR.com, right?
Sitting on their rump.
Yep. Now, I got a question for you. You take
Ooh,
these
okay.
4 stories right here.
Yes.
All right.
4 stories.
4 stories and 12
And
years ago.
5 days from now.
If you had to pick a sports movie, like you take the Comeback Kid, like or let's look at Truex. Is that a Rudy type story right there?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, here's a guy who in his Cup career has been able to put together some wins, but never even close to a march to a championship.
What about you? If you had to pick a sports movie for each of these 4 drivers, what would it be?
Rudy's pretty close for Truex. I don't know if you could put Gordon in. I mean, Gordon's just a dynasty of his own. Like, that's the type of guy that gets a movie.
Ron Howard
made
should make one
of
after
his
him.
life. Like Rush, which we both
Are huge
love.
fans of.
That needs to
Hear that, Ron
needs to
Howard?
be a Jeff Gordon movie. You can't. Jeff Gordon's career doesn't really stack up to anybody else's. It's his own career, and it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Harvick, I don't know if he wins back to back. I don't know.
You don't know? What
I
about
don't
you?
know. Did the Teletubbies have a movie? I mean, I don't
What,
know.
you saying
It's-
Harvick would be the Teletubby
I don't know.
movie?
I'm trying to think of some movie, and like, there's no sports movie
You just
that's
insulted
like back
the
to back.
defending champ.
Well,
Well,
hang
is there
on.
a movie
You know,
about squirrels because he loves squirrels?
hang on. Stricker, do you have one? Matt Stricker.
Well, we've got one that could fit for Gordon and probably Kevin Harvick. You
I
could go
think-
any given Sunday because literally any
Oh.
given Sunday, both of them could end up. winning.
Harvick, that would be a good one for
Kyle
Harvick because he's
Busch.
kind of mean and tough.
Kyle Busch would be a Christmas story. You could compare him to Mr. Scrooge.
And
then
That's a Christmas
finally-
Carol.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
Christmas. I'm sitting there thinking
A Christmas story.
Chevy Chase.
You're
Or
talking
is
about
he
like
gonna have
Ralphie.
yeah.
A Christmas story. That's
Baseball-
Ralphie. I was
baseball
like,
and
is he gonna?
Christmas movies? I'm not up to speed
And
on.
me quoting presidents.
Yeah.
yes,
So what did Abraham Lincoln have to say about the chase last
Abraham
week?
Lincoln said that Jeff Gordon will win this chase.
That is a
That was
horrible.
terrible. That was the worst Abraham,
Abraham
It's like
Lincoln.
you're
Lincoln.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
Rare.
Kyle Busch. No, Kyle Busch. Could he be the replacements, or would that be like Eric Jones?
No, he wouldn't.
He'd be Eric
replacements.
Jones if he can. We were joking about it behind the pit box this week of the 20 car during the rain delay. If they could get Eric Jones to practice the 19 car for just 1 or 2 laps during practice, he'd driven the 18 car, the 11, the 20. The only car he hasn't driven in the Gibbs stable there in Cup would be the 19.
Kyle Busch is like the Bo Jackson of NASCAR.
Okay. All right.
So you think
I'm
he's
intrigued.
gonna like disappear?
I'm intrigued. He knows baseball.
Yeah, he does. No, I mean, you look at Bo Jackson coming back from that dislocated hip to baseball, hits a home run. You know what I mean? His career never went as far. As
Well,
it
that,
would've
he
before
was never the
injured.
same after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he still
Kyle
came
Busch
back
might even be
and
better.
He was still, you give me an injured Bo Jackson, I will take him over a healthy whoever you want to give me.
Healthy Chuck Busch any
Sure.
day.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
I would definitely do that because a tenth of his talent is like 20 times better than mine.
That's for sure.
You
Yeah.
should get better.
I know.
I'm not even going to follow that up.
It's self-deprecating humor here on the Dirty Air podcast. But guess what, guys? You look at this race, Jeff Gordon's final race.
Huge.
Huge. Now,
Huge.
If we hop
Huge.
in the way back machine and go
Ooh,
back
I
to
like
his
that.
first race,
I believe that's a DeLorean.
that's a DeLorean
is.
19. This is the year of
capacitor.
fluxing capacitors and all that stuff. But if you look back to 1992,
Let's look back.
his first race, which was Richard Petty's what?
Oh, Richard Petty's final race in his
Richard
illustrious
Petty's
career.
final race, the 1992 Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
The King, off of the big send-off. We were just talking about it before we got on air. 30,000 people went to the Georgia Dome for a party.
For Alabama,
Alabama played. I mean,
if you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band. That lead guitar's hot, but not for a Louisiana man.
a lot for a Randleman, man.
Yeah, Randleman
Anyway.
man. No, you look at that race. You had, 6 drivers that were vying for that championship?
You had the King's last race. You see him there if you're watching on the video replay there. The King strapping into
Having a
his
little
car.
trouble figuring out which ear the earbuds go in.
Yeah, you know.
But King's final race, Jeff Gordon's first race, 6 drivers in the hunt. Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki, Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, Kyle Petty, and Mark Martin. Now,
all of America was watching that race, it seemed. It seemed like if you were a marginal NASCAR fan, you were interested because 6 people were vying for a title in the old natural point system, which was absolutely an unbelievable thing to have 3 guys that were really going for it.
Obviously it'll never happen again.
Well, that's where there's comparisons, though, because we got 4 people going for it this year.
But, which one do you think's more special? To me, if you look at 1992, the fact that the points naturally cultivated themselves to have that tight of a battle. You have the King going out. You got Jeff Gordon, his first NASCAR Cup Series start.
The King going up in flames.
There will never, ever be another moment like that in our sport. You know what I mean? And the fact that...
But could this moment not be better?
No, absolutely. Nothing against the new point system, but you look and you had Alan Kulwicki win a title. You had Davey Allison fighting for a title. Neither one of those drivers made it to the end of the next season. It was just, if you were there in the stands and you watched that happen, it's given the memory or what happened over the next year. That's just a special moment.
And if you look at what Davey Allison had to fight through that season, okay, he fought through a severe concussion and injuries in the Winston, under the lights. Then he fought through a vicious wreck at Pocono that broke bones, and he was battered and bruised, and he had to Velcro his hand to an attachment so he could shift the car, and then losing his brother, Clifford, at Michigan. You look at what that team had to fight through. They were going into that deal the point leader, and then they lost it. The drama, the storylines that just went up and down the whole season for Davey Allison, and then to have the underdog of it all, you have the veteran.
Kulwicki win. Kulwicki wins the title. Bill Elliott wins the race. They were running 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They're neck and neck in points. They were only separated by 10 points.
And Kulwicki held them off with lesser tires, and Kulwicki was masterful. He's so smart and so underrated for his intelligence as a race car driver, how he actually... him and Paul Andrews as his crew chief, they led just enough laps to get that title.
Underbird.
The Underbird.
Yeah, man.
And the coolest thing about that, too, if you look back at it, it was said that Junior Johnson actually courted Alan Kulwicki before that season to drive the 11 car. And then Alan turned him down. Alan was a true independent, okay, and did things Alan Kulwicki's way. And that why there was a little underlying rivalry between Bill Elliott and that Junior Johnson-led team and Kulwicki. And for the race, after Davey Allison drops out, to come down between the two of them was just iconic.
It's amazing. And if Jeff Gordon goes on and wins this thing, this will be in a category of its own too. But if you just look at it from a whole, I just think 1992 was probably one of the most special years.
One of the most special races too.
How could you say, though, that say the 78 wins, that's a single-car team, much like Kulwicki.
A little different single-car team because it's not.
Driver-owner team.
Kulwicki was operating at about a quarter of the budget.
That's 1992.
I know, but still,
that's apples and oranges.
That was a true underdog deal there. I know the 78 is an underdog, and I understand that, and I appreciate it, but it's not at the same level.
But if Gordon goes out with the win, that's that walk-off moment.
Oh, yeah.
How can that, Richard Petty, Hall of Famer. We're sitting right next to it. I can see the Petty blue through the window over here. Hall of Famer. Jeff Gordon, first ballot Hall of Famer. No question. But if he goes out there and wins this race, wins this title, gets his 5th title, how is that not one of the greatest?
Because
it is. It would be one of the greatest moments in the history of NASCAR, Jonathan.
And hindsight is 2020. That 1992, we can sit here and say, well, this happened in 1993, this happened, this happened, this happened.
You want to know what makes 92 better? Well, not necessarily better, but more legendary, is because, going back to what I said, the next season we lost 2 guys, which...
Non-racing related accidents, a plane crash and a helicopter crash.
Which leaves you to say, what could have been? Yeah. How many titles would Earnhardt and Gordon rack up if Allison and Kulwicki, would have been racing for more than, that next year? So,
But you can compare in a way. We're talking about comparison. You could compare Davey Allison almost to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch comes back from a traumatic injury this year. Davey Allison had 2 major concussions, had broken bones. Like I said, they Velcroed an attachment so he could shift the car. I mean, they're
similar
pure
moments.
blood and guts
they are
right
very.
there.
It's. You could say in a sense that 1992 was the end of an era.
Yes.
And the beginning of a new one, which we are in now, and we're in a sense,
bookends, baby.
We're ending that era. The Jeff Gordon era in NASCAR as a driver will come to an end on Sunday, and that's
and the funny thing is,
that's kind of an emotional thought right there. I mean, when you think about it,
into that 92 deal,
That
here's this
stash.
unknown kid in a mustache that people grew up watching on
he was
ESPN in a
quick.
sprint car, and he comes to Hendrick Motorsports, and Ray Evernham's going to lead this crew, and they have terrible pit stops, and they have a terrible race in 92 at Atlanta, but it was the birth of an amazing career. But if you look at it, the ferocity of Jeff Gordon, we're going to see it this weekend. Mark my words, you're going to see a ferocious Jeff Gordon that has as much power, as much will, as much might and desire as he's ever had in his entire racing career this weekend in Homestead.
I would agree with that. It's going to be incredible. It's just to be able to watch.
Look at
him
that slow pit stop right
in
there
his
if you're
final
watching
race.
from 1992. Wow.
He's in his final race, competitive, running for a title. When all year long, people, I mean, he was getting irritated at people early on in the season. Well, Jeff, are you letting your fans down because you haven't won yet? Squeaks his way in the chase, gets to the eliminator round, gets a win at Martinsville where he's all but a lock, and then now look at him running for a title at Homestead.
It could be John Elway.
This
could be a John Elway
This
moment.
could be one of the greatest sports moments
I
of
think
all time.
It would be bigger than Elway. As big as the NFL is, it would be bigger than Elway because Gordon's done it for, 23 years?
Yep.
So real quick, we're going down to Florida tomorrow morning. We're going down to Florida, so it is going down for real in the NASCAR chase for the Sprint Cup.
Justin Beattie loves you right
He
now.
loves me right now. Who are you taking to win the Cup? We got one Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
Jonathan Merriman going with Jeff Gordon. Matthew Dillner, who are you taking?
Man, I know you all are taking Jeff Gordon, so I wanted to take Kyle Busch to be different, but I can't help it. How could you not take Jeff Gordon?
I think Logano wins the race, though, and Gordon is...
I say
Logano
the 20 wins the
Gordon.
race. I say the 20 comes back and they spank him, but it's going to be Jeff Gordon doing it.
I'm going chalk. We're going straight chalk here. I'm taking Jeff Gordon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dirty air, all 24, baby.
We're fans. Now, Jonathan Merriman, we brought the Eagle fact back last week.
Yep.
You got one for us this week?
Well, since we're consensus that Jeff Gordon's just going to fly away into the sunset at Homestead after winning a title, let me to believe, when did Eagles first start to fly? And when did doves cry? But that doesn't matter. So Eagles start to fly between 10 to 13 weeks into their life. So there you go. That's
it.
It's short and sweet, but
I like it. Short and sweet and straight to the point. Eagle facts about freedom.
It's the essence of freedom.
Here on the Dirty Air Chalk podcast, where we take, Jeff Gordon here. So next week, it's Thanksgiving.
We're off.
We're going to take the weekend off.
Eating a lot of turkey.
But you guys can still tweet us.
But wait, there's more.
But there's more. I was getting to that. There is more. Tweet us. We'll talk to you. Or Dillner will talk to you. But there is more. When we come back the following week, it'll be Champions Week in Las Vegas. And guess what, boys and girls?
What?
It'll be the first live broadcast
Oh, boy.
of the Dirty Air podcast
Us live?
on NASCAR.com from Vegas. December 2nd. It's a Wednesday. I believe it'll be around, we're still nailing down the time, but around noon East local, which is Vegas time, which is not really time at all, but 3 o'clock on the East Coast,
Noon
which is
East
where
local.
we are right now.
Noon East local.
Noon East local. I don't know times. I'm not good with such things, but we do know one thing. By the end of this week, by Sunday, we will have a champion in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Oh, and by the way, a couple other series too, the Xfinity and the Truck Rate and the Truck Series, which we kind of glossed over. We didn't really talk about this episode, but it's going to be exciting. The whole weekend, Ford Championship Weekend at Miami Homestead Speedway, the Ford EcoBoost 400, 300, 200.
Noon East local.
Noon East local. For all of us here at NASCAR.com, this show is derailing quickly. I'm Chuck Busch. That's Jonathan Merriman. That's Matthew Dillner. Follow us on Twitter. Go on YouTube. Comment, like it, all that stuff. Log on to iTunes. Search the Dirty Air Podcast. Download it. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Tweet about it. Say hey to us if you see us at the racetrack. But for all of us here, I'm Chuck Busch reminding you to hop out there in that clean air. Chase down the leader.
America.
And we'll see you next week back in the pack here in, 2 weeks here in the Dirty Air. Noon East Local.
Baby.
Yeah.